Okay, good morning and welcome to probably the last edition of the Seneca County Commissioners meetings for the year of 2021. We do have a meeting scheduled for Monday, the 27th, just in case, but I think this will be the meeting of the year. So, having said that, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, join me please now in a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we all anticipate your coming in a few days. We hopefully we all have the spirit of Christmas in our hearts, the spirit of giving, and the picture of your Son being here to save us from our sins. We ask that you give us the wisdom to make decisions that are in the best interest of those that we serve, keeping in mind that we want to do your will. We also ask that especially this time of year, you watch over those who are protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen. Okay, so we have a couple of appointments, but we can get started here, and I think we first need to do roll call, right, Kylie?
Sure.
All right.
Commissioner Kirschner?
I am here.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Here.
Commissioner Schuff?
Here.
So we need a motion to accept and approve the digital audio video recording of the previous session held last Tuesday, the 16th?
Thursday.
Or last Thursday, the 16th.
Oh. Yep. You got me.
I'm just reading what you have. This is a little,
Nothing we can't change.
little Joe Biden flub there. I just read what's on the monitor.
At least.
So, we got a motion?
So
All
moved.
set?
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Okay, Stace, you're up.
I have nothing for today.
All right, well, I'll start. The week was relatively busy. We had an appearance last Thursday morning on WTTF. For all of you who, have a love for radio, you can tune that in anytime. All of us, most of us attended the township meeting, which was their Christmas meeting, their annual meeting, last Tuesday. We now own the building on the south part of town, Seneca Rehab Building. We closed that on Monday morning. We talked with Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership about their awards. They're having their annual meeting in February. They give out a number of awards, and we had that meeting. We also interviewed what was going to be two, turned into one person. They had 4 applications, I believe, for a development manager for TSEP. So that was that's a summary of my couple of days since Thursday. Tyler?
No report this time, you pretty well covered it, but just a quick question. For some of the turnover and stuff that we've had at TSEP, do we conduct exit interviews?
I don't know that. I think it's been suggested. I'm not absolutely certain who the chairman of TSEP is right now, but it would be a good phone call to make. Yeah, I think, given 2 recent departures pretty close together, would probably suggest that some exit interviews would be a good thing to have.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, nice meeting with the township. Quite a few new township trustees will be starting next this January. I was really kind of amazed how many new ones. So that'll be interesting. We've moved the EMS meeting from the first Thursday of the month, January 6th, to January 20th. So we will have that meeting at 7 o'clock.
That email went out, people have been notified of that.
We let everybody, did we do that yet? Let the districts know?
It was in my press release, but
You
we'll
send
send something out.
Yeah, we
Some of
probably-
the township trustees asked us just for a reminder, and then
Sure.
we'll send them another one when we get closer.
Yeah, so it was in our press release, but we'll send something
Yeah,
directly to that
we'll send
group.
that out.
I
Do
can
we
send
have the
something.
new email addresses of the new township trustees?
Good point, we probably don't. So that's a good point. The members of the EMS boards, I'm not sure have changed. They might have though. Yeah, actually they will, because Reed Township, Charles Miller's, yeah, I don't know. Good point. I don't know how we go.
Did they send you anything, Kylie, typically? when
That's a
there's
great
new
question,
townships?
really.
I thought regional planning kind of kept a
So we're
list of
gonna
all that.
have to,
Yeah.
so who we
depends how
send it
quickly she
to are
gets
the
it done.
representatives on the EMS board, and there may be a couple changes there. And then, as far as
I
all
think-
the townships that are involved in all those emails, yeah, we do not have those.
Okay,
Because the fiscal officers really didn't change, so if you have their emails.
Okay.
That's
they'll
how
be able
we'll
to
do
forward
it.
out. Yeah, might want to do that
And
with
then
your
Jimmy-
email, just say if you've got any new trustees, have them submit their emails.
Good suggestion. We'll send an email out to that effect. Please cancel any new one, or reschedule any new ones.
And I did talk to Kathy Moore, and she said the building would be available for us on the 20th. I checked with her.
Okay, good. Oh, that's another thing. you wouldn't
Yeah.
think of. Yeah, an NCOSC.
Yeah, she
Okay.
said she was fine with that.
That's really all I have now. We'll have some more discussion there about next
Okay.
year.
Yes,
Charlene from Regional Planning said she's gonna gather the new email addresses and distribute the directory at the beginning of next year.
perfect. Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, any old business, Stace?
Old business, no.
No? Okay, we've got, we'll fly right through the agenda today, that's a good thing. We do have Palmer coming in at 10:30, that's the plan?
Yep.
Okay, so let's go,
New business, before we get into just all the financials, do you want to go over the board appointments for 2022? Just to kind of have a preliminary discussion. I know these won't get approved until January 6th, but it helps us kind of prepare the resolution. And there was a couple of them that we just want clarification on, like OSS. We know one of you were on the budget committee and the other one was on policy. So I'd like to have that in the resolution. You guys are gonna keep that the same. Any of these committees you'd wanna change up a little bit, or?
I would like to stay on the budget committee for
Okay.
OSS.
I'll take policy.
One year in, so I think next year will be good.
okay, well,
So we're all on solid waste.
Right.
And I'm just on the budget committee. Okay.
Yep, you are all on the Health Advisory Board and the Community Improvement Corporation, OSS, obviously. Regional Planning, you guys are all a member of Regional Planning. One of you is on the Exec Committee, which was Tony. Are you staying until they reorganize? Organize? I don't know if anything will
Sure,
change.
somebody here wants, yes.
Okay.
I'll stay.
well, as far as appointments go, the list that I have, I'm fine with filling out the last year with, unless anybody wants any of those.
Thought we talked about switching around downtown development, TSEP, and FEDC, but we can always.
Okay, downtown development, I am not on, that's Tony's.
Yeah.
That one was mine, but I think Tony wanted to take that one this year, and that would actually help me out because they have their meeting the same time as Children and Family First.
Okay, I'll do that, then we have FEDC and TSEP, so
I was hoping to jump on TSEP this year.
that's between you two.
The TSIP I've got.
You want to stay on that?
Yeah,
one
that's
year?
fine, one more year.
Tyler, can you go to FEDC this year and then take TSEP this year, meaning next year?
Yeah.
Would that be good? And then put you on TSEP next year.
So for 22,
Is next year this year? I mean,
that's why I want to clarify.
I think we're talking
So for
about-
2022,
We have a Fred Zoller going on up here.
Yeah.
So next
FEDC
year's,
will go to you, Taylor, for 2022, FEDC?
Yeah, we can discuss
I'm
it.
gonna miss that one, that's a good one. Tyler, you'll do great.
And Mike, you'll keep TSEP, you're gonna keep Records Commission. COG, Opiate Task Force,
Do I not see, or am I missing Board of Revisions on here?
That is on, under yours.
It is?
Yes, Board of Revision is under you,
Second for the last one.
and then the investment
Why do I
committee.
not?
Highlighted.
Oh, it's
It's
highlighted.
highlighted, yeah.
It's-
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't find it either, actually.
You
Are we
keeping
all,
that?
we're all on investment committee,
Yes.
all three of us,
Yep,
yeah. So that needs to be added down to Tyler. Right?
Okay, this isn't in stone, if you guys want to think about it a little bit.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, no, let's
Yeah, let's
just
talk,
start.
let's discuss it.
You can walk away, that's right.
I will not be disappointed if somebody wants to assume one of the committees I'm on.
the entrepreneurship, is that still,
Yeah, that's a start up and it continues on.
okay,
Yeah. I'll do that because it's kind of the beginning of that.
okay.
I just want to put a disclaimer, so if we assume one of your committees, then you're assuming one of our committees. It's kind of a trade.
You know what assuming does?
I just make a comment. Okay, good.
And you're gonna, Tony, you're gonna keep the IT advisory board
Yeah,
and the
I
health
think-
insurance?
Unless somebody wants it, I'd be glad to keep it. Yep.
Okay, issue 1. Looks like, Tony, you had that one too.
Yep.
Fair board, or are you keeping fair board? Because I think fair board and GeoCap were on the same night.
They are.
So
Yeah,
right
so
now
I'll do that.
you'll keep the fair board?
It's hard because it meets, they meet on Tuesdays with a
Yeah.
lot of EMS meetings going on.
Sure.
But we need to get to the fair board in the next couple months as they start to plan. It's
For-
kind
yeah.
of key, so but I'll do that.
And you're gonna keep GeoCap, Tyler?
Yep,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Okay, we can change this, but we'll kind of get a new resolution kind of
I
prepared.
think it's good to go a couple of years on the committee, because as
Okay.
soon as you figure it out, it's,
If there's anything you want to change, just let
Rotate.
us know. And obviously, when we'll do the president and vice chair on the 6th, and then our meeting dates, we can talk about that on the 6th, unless there's any conversation you guys wanted to have now, we can do that on the 6th.
Like to take some little time to stew over it a little bit or
Sure,
something to
yep.
think about.
Yep, I just figured rest of the year, give you guys time to think about it. We could talk a little bit about it today, and all these will be set on the 6th.
yeah, I do want to mention that I'd like to have our meeting on the 6th, and we have a meeting on the 20th, right? The 13th and 20th.
Right,
And the 20th looks like it's gonna be an EMS meeting, and so I would like to not have a meeting on the 13th.
13th.
Got a few things going on.
Because we're gonna have 2 on the 20th, basically.
We're gonna have 3, well, 2, and then we're probably gonna talk about.
Yeah, that's fine.
We have our Main Street accreditation the 13th too, so if you guys want to cancel that meeting, that's fine with me.
It's kind of a big, but the 20th, I think we're going to talk buildings and grounds, plus a normal meeting, plus EMS.
Okay, do you want to do?
Because Mike, that works for Mike on the 20th.
Do you want to set it at a different time? You want to do it like kind of after board
On the 20th?
on the 20th?
Yeah, let's have, why don't we have a work session on the 20th at 9?
If he's got it, Tony's got FEDC.
No, he
You
does.
got a what?
Oh, yeah, you're switching that one. On the calendar, it still says Tony.
Assuming we approve.
FEDC is that morning.
Okay, well, then we'll do it right after.
Okay,
That'd be a good day then.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah,
okay.
and then we'll talk more, but just in advance,
Cancel the 13th.
we just won't have a meeting on the 13th, otherwise it's every Thursday, and then we'll talk more about it.
Okay. The only thing, and I haven't got clarification, the District 17 with that, what's it called, Ohio 1, the opiate they're trying to schedule a
Settlement conversation.
Zoom, and it's either gonna be the 13th or the 20th, but it'll be by Zoom, so.
Well, the good news is that Zoom, any of us can
Yeah.
jump in on
Yeah.
that.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be our board day, but,
So just a comment for the public. So part of the opioid settlement, it could be $1 billion kind of a settlement with a variety of companies. But part of the settlement is we, Seneca County, will be part of, is it region or district?
it might be Region 17.
Region 17, so that's made up, I think, of 9 counties, but it's Wyandotte, Sandusky, Seneca, and we're gonna flip in Ottawa, which is our mental health board. But all 4 of those counties are part of our region that will be receiving this. But we have to have a board in the region, we have to have representation in the region, 17, before we can receive any money or do anything. So this is kind of important that we get this put together, and everyone throughout the county is doing that. And then we will see some dollars come in and some benefits achieved out in our communities as a result of that. So just so everybody knows, that's what we'll be talking about. Okay.
That's good, all right. Perfect, so we'll make sure that we participate. This would just have to be a public notice meeting if more than one of us got on?
We'll have to see when it's schedules, if they
I would
do all
imagine it
3.
would be. No, Jimmy, you don't think informational?
I mean,
I'm afraid there might be some
I
decisions
think
that are
it's
made though.
informational. I guess we'll just have to see what they say.
Okay, I mean, I guess that I'd rather err on the side of making it a public meeting,
Yeah.
at least from a Zoom standpoint. No, it's possible we won't have this office open, but we will give them access to that Zoom.
Yeah, well, it just depends if it's pending litigation, then
Let's say
obviously,
that,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
it may not be. But
All right,
those were just the preliminary dates she gave me that she was trying to
That's
get
good,
set up.
all right.
Because I think it's gonna fast track.
Okay, very good. Anything else there?
Nope, I think that's it. If you're done with the appointments for now, then.
Okay. Amy, I know it's early, but if you're ready,
I'm ready.
okay.
All right. Do each of you have what I sent over just yesterday?
We have it, but it's in our email,
Okay, here, I have.
so if you have a copy of it.
I do.
Thank you. Hey, you just sat down.
Thank you. Yeah,
There you go.
see you.
The Palmer report.
I'll give you this one when I'm.
Oh, that's fine. I got the email up.
Have you been reading the Palmer report every
Yeah, we did that.
Friday? I'm sure it's
Oh,
the first thing you want to do.
You get that? It's interesting.
So today I'm here to give you the results of the RFP that we sent out with Seneca and 10 other counties. We sent out to 10 suppliers, and this is for your facilities, and we had 9 suppliers respond. So, if you've been reading the Palmer report or attended virtually or in person, when was that, October, when we had the half-day or 2-hour energy,
You and John.
you know,
Yeah.
you know that the markets in gas and electric are both up. It's been an up, and Commissioner Kirschner has been here longer and has been through at least one of the prior contracts, but last 2 energy contracts for facilities, each contract, we've had a lower rate. That is not the case this time. And probably not a surprise to you or any of the other counties that I've been out to, as well as Phil and Bob, that are up in May of 2022. So the market's up. It's not to the degree it was back, I don't know, 2012, 2011, those rates, but we are gonna see a higher rate than we did this current contract. The current contract is with Constellation, and you're at a fixed rate of 0.0501. So 501 is what you're paying right now. So we sent out to the suppliers, and on page 2 is the results of the RFP. And we did, as usual, terms of 12, 24, and 36 month pricing. What is different this year is that instead of all being a fixed rate that I come back to you with, is we are doing and recommending capacity pass-through. So we're actually fixing 70 to 75% of the load, and we're passing through capacity. Capacity is typically auctions that happen every May, and they go out 3 years. But due to regulatory and changes they want to make, auctions are not going out 3 years. So what typically the suppliers know for sure are the auction rates going out. They don't know. So because they don't know, they're estimating what the capacity will be out years 2 and years 3. So our recommendation, and so far we did this in May of 21 starts, and we're doing it for May of 22 starts, that we fix the rate, and then whatever capacity truly is what will be passed through for that month, for that facility. And again, another reason for doing that is, and it happened just this past year, if anyone would have gone with a fixed rate, the suppliers all estimated what 21 to 22 would have been. They figured higher than it actually came in. And if a supplier puts a higher rate in, I'm pretty sure they're not going to give you your money back. But if they would have estimated lower and capacity rates end up being higher, they will pass it through to you. So this way, our counties are just paying in capacity what they truly should mean. So it doesn't mean anything different, except that it's going to be 2 lines, I believe, on the utility bill instead of 1.
So we're hedging ourselves in that 75% is the rate they quote,
Right,
but that it
right.
could change based on the capacity
The
level
capacity part will change.
for the 25%
Right.
of it. Because my first instinct is to go along at a fixed rate, knowing what our costs are gonna be. I mean, that's kind of like, I guess, my old banking mentality. When rates are going up, you better fix it, and hope for the best in the long term. Now, you could guess wrong, I get that.
Right, and if you guess wrong, I mean, the suppliers are gonna get their money regardless.
Right.
And they're not gonna, more than likely, can't say for 100%, but we don't see, if they thought, oh, it's gonna be 120 megawatt day is what they're gonna figure, and it comes in at 70, you're not gonna get that money back. And that's why we're saying, go fixed plus capacity pass through, so you're paying exactly what you should pay.
Okay, I mean, we pay you to be the consultant, so I'm gonna guess that
Yes.
you've done the odds.
We have, and again, I can only use Greene County, which we did in May of 2021, it's my county, so I can speak on it. And they went capacity pass-through, and it worked out very well for them because all the fixed rates that the suppliers estimated capacity to be at was much higher than capacity came through at. So, but we're still gonna do the refresh like we always do. The market is actually a little lower right now than it was even when these pricing came back. You know, gas has eked back a little bit, so we're not going to look at doing the refresh. I mean, we have to wait for the prosecutor to review the red line agreements. But the outlook weather-wise is mild. We don't have to actually sign a contract till probably March for a May start. It's not aggregation. There's not there's less to do to switch over. We know how long we can go, so we're going to see. And once the prosecutor's office is good with the contract, we're going to kind of watch the market, and if it makes sense and we know we can maybe get a couple mini mills lower than what's here, we're gonna do that.
So let me make sure I understand. Are you
Yes.
recommending 3 years?
We're recommending 24 month
Okay.
because of the LOI and the solar. Again, we don't know yet on the solar as far as where it's gonna be located in southern Ohio or the actual start, but Mark and
And the
The
supplier
team.
is to be determined at a later time? Or is Constellation gonna be the one we continue with?
oh no, Constellation is not going to be. It's going to be either Dynegy or Freepoint.
Okay?
Because we're gonna refresh what the top, Constellation was not as competitive. And there's enough of a difference, they're not gonna jump. So it's going to be whoever comes back on the day that you will sign, which we're looking at probably early March. Whoever comes in with that best rate, that's who we'll go with. Every contract, I'm pretty sure we've had, I don't remember who you had before Constellation, but we haven't had consistently the same since the early days when pretty much then First Energy Solutions was the most competitive.
Explain.
Now,
Okay, explain to me one more time why 2 years instead of 3 years?
because you had signed the LOI, letter of intent
Right.
to participate, and we're looking to start early December 2024 for the next contract to be with the solar in it. So this 22 to 24 contract will not have the solar part in it. We're looking at the contract after this to have 20 to 25% of the load being solar. If everything goes as we anticipate, pricing coming back and so forth.
I mean, everything that I read and everything that I talk to people about is that solar per megawatt would be a lot more expensive.
So.
It certainly wouldn't be at the rate of natural gas.
So we've done our, we did our due diligence, we sent it out, we went to the developers, they have pricing back. We have 50+ counties participating. Now it's in the hands of the Ohio Prosecutors Association, the PPA is being determined. But we had numbers in place that it had to be at to move forward. And Mark and the team says that's where we're at, so.
But if it's not there and the rates are higher, blending solar in, we would have made a mistake not going 3 years.
We're not anticipating that to be the case from
Okay.
what we've done.
You're the pros, all right. Okay, got it.
Good question.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you've seen all the information that we've been sending out for solar. If there's anything that you need me to resend, I can absolutely send it from our office in the CCAO.
Yeah, alternative energy scares me from the standpoint of inefficiencies and from the standpoint
Right.
of percentage of time that they actually are in operation.
And again, it's just a letter of intent.
Got it.
So when we have the final numbers, which we will have, I'm assuming in the next 4 to 6 months, we'll have, as soon as we can get that power purchase agreement worked out, we're gonna be that much closer to then coming to the counties and saying, okay, this is the fixed rate we're looking at. It does not have an escalator in it, and this is what we're looking for it to do, and then you sign the PPA. And obviously, it's up to you to decide if you want to move forward. This is just the letter of intent.
Remember this conversation 2 years from now, will you, boys?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's a good point.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So what I'll do,
totally
I
get
think
it.
I already sent over the 2 red line agreements. So once the prosecutors approve those, we'll be ready to go, and then we'll just keep you informed on when the market is at the right place.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, Stacy?
The $1 million question is gonna be up, so can you translate that into English based on our rates are gonna be higher next
The
year?
rates are gonna be higher.
So if we pay the $1 this year, what are we gonna pay next year?
Well, so the current rate is 501.
Right.
And it's probably going to be, once they refresh, I'm assuming like a 5.2 to 5.3 with the capacity
What
pass-throughs.
percentage is that?
Not very, not.
But until we get,
no,
the you know, until we
well,
refresh,
Okay,
yeah.
so you got that covered.
Maybe 4%,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
50 to 52 cents.
This is just like farming,
It
right,
is,
Raj?
yeah.
You know, it's just grain prices,
Hedging the gas and all of that,
Cost,
yeah,
everything.
the
You just have
futures
to-
market.
there's banking, good job.
Well, the story with farming, Bill and
Thank you.
Roger, is that, you know, during the winter, the guy was out there, one of the farmers out there selling hammers. And somebody stops, I'd like to buy one of those hammers. He said, how much are they? He said, $2. $2? How much you pay for them? He said, I pay 5. He said, you bought them for 5, you're selling them for 2, it's a hell of a lot easier than farming.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So Stacy, I guess on with new business.
Okay. I have a supplemental.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Amy.
Supplemental appropriation request into the county sales tax revenue transfers outline. This is an adjustment. Obviously, sales tax has come in higher than what we originally anticipated at the beginning of the year, so the auditor's office didn't have enough accounted for into the transfers out. So when the sales tax come in, it comes in through this fund, and then they take out the payment, and then the rest gets transferred back to the general fund. So they would like to put in their transfers out for the general fund, $1,492,092.42. And let's see, I have a decrease from the sheriff's office. They need to decrease their Medicare, PRS, and salary line in the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Planning Fund. Just because they're cleaning up the year, they didn't need that much, so they're doing a decrease for a total of $11,545. And I have, let's see, come back. The supplemental appropriation at the request of the regional planning for the sewer district. Of course, this thing is just going really slow. Asking for an additional $101,089.26 into the transfers out, and this is the bond payments for the Bascom and New Regal. There was something with 2015, I think that was a matter of regime changes, that the transfers weren't actually being done for the payment. Now, the payments were actually made, so no payments for 2015 were missed. It's just the transfers, because they had enough cash balance in that fund to cover the bond payment, but there was no transfers being done to supplement for those payments. So, and Charlene is on if, she worked this out with the auditor's office.
I answered this before, or we had something like this occur. This is from 2015.
The majority of them was 15, and then there was one in 2020, but I think that.
So that's when we caught it. We did the audit in 2020. and then
The auditor's office just performed this audit this year.
Yeah.
Last month, and talked to Charlene about this,
Got it.
so.
That's all I need.
So let me make sure I understand.
Well,
2015 is when the problem was,
Yes,
and it was done correctly in 16, 17, 18, 19,
yep.
but was missed in 20.
There was one quarter that, Charlene, if you're there, I think the payment was transferred. The auditor's office missed it. I think Charlene sent the transfer over for 2020, quarter 4.
Okay.
I'm here if you
There
need
she
me.
is. Yeah, go ahead, Charlene.
It's a little easier. So, commissioners, so you understand, the auditor's office did an audit on our bond transfer account this year, just to make sure that the funds were in there, that payments could be made doing their line item check. They discovered that there were 2 quarters in 2015 that they never received transfers for. Now, I cannot speak to that since I did not start prior to April of 2016. So we're just cleaning up what happened prior to me taking over in 2016. The 2020 transfer was sent to the auditor's office in a timely manner on the day it was due from our department, and the auditor's office just missed it and it was not posted. So what we're doing is just cleaning up those 3 transfers to make sure that the available cash balance is there for them to do the payment transfer of the bonds before the end of the year.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does now, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Charlene.
Now, I assume, I mean, one of the things that caught my attention is, even though the money wasn't transferred, there was enough money in the account to pay the bond payments.
Yes.
The money in that account is there for future repairs, maintenance.
This is just the bond payment,
Okay.
bond and interest payment, so.
So why would we have $101,000 excess in the account if it's specifically for the bond payment?
Charlene, can you answer that?
Probably because they didn't make the payment, they didn't take it out.
They made the payment, because otherwise ODNR would have,
Well, I get that. I mean, the payment was made.
I see what you're saying.
My question is, we missed the transfer, I get it, was back in 15. But why would we have that kind of money in an account that's specific? I understand it if it was for future maintenance and repairs, that kind of thing. But why would we leave that kind of money in an account that's just for specifically the bond payment?
So I can try to help answer that a little bit. My understanding of how this account is supposed to work is we're supposed to keep a little bit extra in there in case the bond amounts change, but we're not supposed to keep a ton extra in there. So basically, and this is my understanding, again, every year I have to do a quarterly review and transfer, or an annual transfer, that'll either go into the replacement and investment account, which is like capital improvements, or we put into the bond payment account. Typically, we haven't had to do that for a couple of years, so that's wonderful. We have enough in the bond payment account reserve that is required by the USDA, and they did set a reserve amount that we were required to keep. I know it's a little muddy, but that's the best way I can explain it.
All right, well,
it's
give me
just
some
different than ours.
Give me some perspective here. How much is the annual bond payment, or is it quarterly?
Ooh, I am home today and I don't have that right in front of me, Mike, but I believe every quarter we transfer about 40 to 50,000. It could be a little more. And then there's an annual payment that's made. And it's 3 different bonds plus their interest. And of course, every year we have to go off the amortization schedule that they gave us and change that if it is necessary.
Okay, so 3 different bonds that we're paying for Bascom and New Riggle?
That is correct, yes.
All right, so do we have any idea how much longer those bonds are for?
I believe we have another 17 to 20 years on those. But I do know that the county engineer, Mark Zimmerman, is looking into refinancing those to get better rates. And we can't do that until there is, I think, 5 years of consecutive payments. He started looking into the process last year.
Okay, well, they better hurry, because rates aren't gonna stay down for long.
So we do have, you have the amortization schedule of those bonds?
Yes, I have those at my office.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to get those. I'm working on the New Riggle project, so that, just to get a perspective, what that is.
Sure, I'd be glad to send them to you. Actually, once I get off of this meeting, I can just use the VPN and get in the system, and I'll email them to all 3 of you, so you have a copy of the amortization schedules for future reference.
That will include how much carryover there is in those accounts?
Well, I don't believe it does on the amortization schedule.
Okay. So, I mean, we know there's at least 100,000 carryover, because there was that much money in there to pay the bond. I just wonder how much more there is in there.
Right.
I can double check that for you once we get this transfer done.
So I'm gonna make a statement for the public, and then you correct me on this if I'm wrong. So the payments that are made on the Bascom sewer and the New Riggle sewer are paid by the citizens that use those services, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we as commissioners have to sign the bond, approve, and so we're liable for the bond, but yet the general fund is not making these payments. The village,
Let me just insert one thing here.
So-
I'm not sure if they're revenue bonds or general obligation bonds. The general obligation bonds means that the county as a whole is responsible. A revenue bond means that the sewer district is responsible from their revenue. So I don't know if it's
Let's
if it's
find
a
that out.
GO or an
I
RO.
think it has to be revenue because it purely comes out of the sewer district revenue.
we like co-sign the loan, or we have to sign for
Well,
the.
that's the difference between a general obligation and a
So revenue,
bond.
we just approve it, but we don't have to sign it.
Exactly. Well, it's like
It's
hospital.
backed by
Yeah.
the sewer revenues.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was what we did with the Justice Center. It's a revenue because it comes out of our
This is the
sales
kind of
tax.
stuff you learn after 2 years, you know, but it does make some sense. And I think it would make sense, Charlene, at regional planning, you're doing the billing, but you're also overseeing the bond payments.
That is correct,
And I
yes.
guess, I now realized all that, so, good.
But in the case of a general obligation or a revenue bond, it makes a difference on the bonding capacity of the county in case there's something you need to do in the future
Yeah.
that you want to do with a
That
general
would hurt the
obligation
bond.
bond. Yeah.
Okay, so who has the actual agreement? Derek Wood?
I think in this case, Mark Zimmerman.
Mark
Well,
Zimmerman?
we would have had to have
Oh,
signed
yeah,
it,
well, yeah,
so.
Derek has basically all of
Just
us, right.
because as we're going into buildings and grounds and all these discussions, looking at all our bonds, I'd like to have clarification on that.
Sure, we should have a
It'd be
copy
good
on
for
our,
the public,
on our
too.
server.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Thanks.
It
Learned
might
few
not be a
things.
bad idea to talk to Mark about coming in and talk about is, if he is gonna refinance the bond, that, you know, that we
Just thinking on the
look at the rates because,
Yeah, I think there's a deadline. He had John Larson look it up,
okay,
that we cannot do anything until,
I got you.
I can't remember if it was 2022 or
Early payment
2023.
penalty or whatever.
Yep,
Yeah, that's probably right.
so he kind of stopped what he was doing knowing that date.
Okay, that makes sense. I
So-
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Most
I
of
would
it-
like to know the date because that'll
Yeah,
eventually
and,
get.
and I have it, I just don't have it.
There's a, you know, and most of those, there's a put date and a call date. And by that I mean, if it's a put date, the person borrowing the money can either pay it off or redo it and pay that off. If it's a call date, the people that wrote the bond could call it and say, you know, you're not paying us enough of a rate, you need to do something, we're calling the balance.
Gotcha. Yep,
Okay.
we can get you
stuff.
the information.
Okay,
have-
that's it?
Nope, one more. I
right.
have a resolution amending the board's orders of December 2nd, 2021, setting time, date, and place to receive sealed bids for the Seneca County Services Building, ADA, and facade upgrades. Originally, we set it for January 6th. They had a pre-bid meeting last week, and there was quite a few contractors there, and with the holidays, they had requested additional time to be able to,
That's fair, that's a $700,000 project.
yeah,
so,
and with costs going up, it's obviously gonna be more than that.
Okay.
But, so they had asked us if we could change the date. I said as long as it meets our legal requirements. So we are gonna set that now as January 20th at 10:15 a.m. here at our office.
Okay. We're gonna jam pack that 20th meeting, Tom.
See that.
Yeah. All right.
And I think that's all I had.
Okay, any questions, concerns? If not, I'll accept the motion to approve the new business and the sub-apps.
So moved?
Second?
Okay, Kylie?
Commissioner Chef,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirsch.
Yes. Okay, Jimmy, make the announcement if you will.
Absolutely. So if you're joining us through Zoom and you'd like to come forward and make a comment during the public comment section, you can go ahead and do that now.
We are going into executive session eventually here for personnel, but at this point in time, we don't expect to have any decisions made when we come back. But at this time, we'll open up the public comment for anybody who would like to speak, and then we'll go into executive session. Anybody from this huge crowd today?
So I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, William, right back at you, appreciate that.
Do the same.
Nice guess from your,
Yes,
your
Thomas?
county?
I got a comment and a question.
All
I
right.
don't know how to present this, but I had heard the Clinton Township ambulance crew, or the system was down several weeks ago. I don't know when the time was. And the city sent an ambulance out for that. Could that have happened? Was that correct?
The Clinton Township does use the city for their ambulance
Probably a
service.
different township you're thinking.
Okay.
Which township was it? But there is mutual aid. The city of
It
Tiffin.
was a mile out on 53
Yeah.
north.
Could be
I mean,
Pleasant Township, maybe.
It could be.
But then.
That was still Clinton. No, it was
Oh, it
Clinton.
was Clinton? Okay.
Yeah. Well, the city of Tiffin does do mutual aid calls if one of our trucks are out.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't know how the pinging
Okay.
begins, but it goes, down the ladder as to
I was
who's
just curious
available.
about it. I just,
So, yeah, it's possible.
But see, if it was in Clinton, the city of Tiffin would come anyhow. They're primary responder. But if it was in Pleasant or Liberty or some township that doesn't have an arrangement with Tiffin, then Tiffin could back us up with mutual aid.
Clinton, or city would go out to Clinton.
Yes.
Okay. This is Clinton, I know that. Just a curiosity
Yeah.
question.
Well, just so you know, the countywide ambulance district that we are proposing is gonna end up being 10 townships. And it's everybody, well, as you know, there's 15 townships. So 5 of those will not be part of the countywide ambulance, partially because they're already covered.
Okay, thank you.
Roger, man.
Nope, nothing.
Good to see you.
Anybody got their hands raised out there, Jimmy?
I don't see anything in the chat right now.
Okay.
If we're good.
Any report from Mike Ditto or from TSUP? Anybody wants to speak up?
He said, "Merry Christmas."
And just wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas, and we'll look forward to getting things underway here again in January.
Okay, Mike, I saw that tribe of yours on your car.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to get a bigger house or something.
I'm just gonna drop them off at the grandparents a lot more next year.
You're gonna pick up a few more counties or something.
That's right,
I'd rather clothe them and feed them.
for sure.
Okay, anything else? I will accept the motion to go into executive session for the purpose of personnel.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. It's 10:47.
Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Chef,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner.
Yes, we are in executive session. Here's your hat, what's your hurry? You tell me when.
All good?
Okay, it's 11:08, and we are out of executive session. Do we have to motion
Roll call.
out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll call. Oh, I make a motion, we
Thank
come out of
you.
executive session, sorry.
Second.
Thank you, Tyler. Roll call.
Now we're there.
Commissioner Schuff,
Present.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Present.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay. It is 11:08. Without any further business before the commissioners, I say we adjourn.
Be adjourned. Thank you.